Hey friends, welcome back to She's At It Again. My name is Tanya if you're new to watching our videos, and I'm glad you're here. We've made our Italian sausage in the last video, I think, and today we are going to make a sausage pumpkin pasta bake. Now this is going to make quite a bit. I'm going to take out just a little bit at the end for my husband and myself, and we will send the rest of it to someone else on meal train. That's how we're doing most of the meals right now, because unfortunately we just have a lot of people on meal train. But fortunately in that we have a lot of people who are waiting in queue just to serve them by making meals. So let's go over to the stovetop and let's get our sausage going, and we're going to get our pasta going too. So let's go. Okay, I got my onion chopped up. Man, does that do a number on my eyes. Oh, I can't stand it. I'm such a baby when it comes to things that burn my eyes. All right, I've got this pan heating up. I've got this water heating up in here. This is salted water for cooking the pasta in. This is our pound of Italian sausage. I'm just going to use this flat spatula to cook it and chop it up. If you're used to making Italian sausage that it's prepackaged, or obviously just Italian sausage you buy at the store, it has so much fat in it that usually by this time when you put it in the skillet you can see it start to drain off. But when you use that bulk pork from the supermarket, for some reason there is not near as much fat in that, and you just don't have the issue of needing to drain it. So even though my recipe calls for cooking the Italian sausage then draining it, there's nothing to drain. I'll show you the pasta I'm going to use, and also kind of give you a helpful hint too. I did a video recently about when shopping for flour for baking or cooking to look for something that does not say enriched, because enriched means they take an ingredients out and then try to replace it with a synthetic form normally of what they took out. Same way with pasta. Look for something that does not say enriched. Now I also look for this right here that says product of Italy. I like the fact that it's made in Italy because they just don't have a lot of the things that we're really cautious about over here in the US. But it just says durum wheat semolina. That's it. That's the only ingredient. It doesn't say enriched wheat flour and vitamin this and thiamine and niacin blah 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 added back to it, because they didn't take it out. It's in there. So look for something, even if it's not organic, look for something that says just pasta, macaroni, whatever kind it is, but look for the word enriched. If it says enriched, move on. I got that from my local, I say local, it's a couple of towns away, a local Kroger, but our Walmart is getting really good about carrying, I think the brand is called Better Goods, and actually that is a pasta that's not enriched. I'm also going to add that onion. That was a pretty huge onion that I chopped up. I'm going to add this to our Italian sausage. I can smell those fennel seeds and it just smells fabulous. I'm going to add the onion to it, and we're going to cook it until the onion gets transparent. Now you don't want it necessarily caramelized. It wouldn't hurt it, but it's not necessary. We're going to wait until after the onion gets transparent to add our minced garlic, because garlic is good burned garlic is not good, and singed is not good. So we don't want the garlic to burn, and if we put the garlic in there at the same time we put the onions in there, it would have a tendency to get hot enough to where it would start singeing on the edge. It's not a good flavor. So we'll let the onion do its thing and then toss the garlic in there just a minute or so before we start adding the other ingredients to this. That chopper comes in so handy because it chops things a lot faster than I can ever do by hand. Okay, that is ready for our pasta to go in the water. Give the pasta a stir just to keep it from sticking together. Now I also have to grate some Parmesan Reggiano, so I'll leave this to cook. I'll keep an ear out for the pasta. I'm so famous for letting it boil over, it's just ridiculous. Okay, let's go grate some cheese. This is my little Xylus grater. My husband got this for me either anniversary or Christmas. It's right about the same time, so you just have to cut it in a little bit smaller block. But you'll know it's Parmesan Reggiano because it has the Reggiano stamp on the inside. You can kind of see the little indentation, but there's the package. So we're going to need 1.5 cups of this. We're going to use 1 cup of it in the pasta, and then the 1/2 cup is just going to be included in the topping. Even though this is small, it really does a very good job of grating, and it's super easy to clean. Take apart and clean. You can put it in the dishwasher or wash it by hand. Once the rind gets next to the blade, it gets a little bit persnickety. And I don't want to break anything, so I got to keep flipping it over. Now again, I want to remind you, if you don't eat pork, or you don't want this to be a pork dish, you can always use ground turkey. Turkey sausage is just fine, as is chicken sausage. I've used both of those meats in there to replace the pork, and it turned out just delightful. And obviously it's not going to have near the fat that store-bought sausage would as well. Okay, my piece is getting considerably smaller. It just doesn't go near as smooth once you get to that rind, because it is a lot harder than the center of the cheese. Okay, I think I've gotten to the end of it. All right, let's go back over there. All right, we're going to get our garlic and add that to it. This is my minced garlic that I buy. It's organic, but I put it in this little jar because the other jar is a lot bigger, and I keep it in the other auxiliary refrigerator. Someone asked me the other day on a different video, so why don't you use fresh garlic? Well, it is. It's just somebody else chopped it up for me. And I use so much garlic, it would be ridiculous the number of garlic bulbs I'd be buying. Okay, so my guess would be close to a teaspoon. This is a 1/2 teaspoon measure, so close to a teaspoon, which is a heaping 1/2 teaspoon. If you've never cooked with a schnauzer between your feet, you just don't know what you're missing. I think I get extra points for that. Should, if I don't. Okay, once we add the garlic, we want to kind of move a little quicker just because, again, I don't want it singeing. I don't like the flavor of burned garlic. I'm going turn the heat down just a tiny bit, and we're going to add our pumpkin right there. Just a 15-ounce can of pumpkin. There's a rogue onion jumping out of my pan. To this, we're also going to add an 8-ounce block of cream cheese. And full-fat cream cheese would be my choice, but that's completely up to you. I've had recipes before with Italian sausage and pumpkin, and let me tell you, it does not taste like pumpkin. It just has a really good flavor to it. I know people are going to tell you that about most things with pumpkin, but it really doesn't taste like what you would think. Like, it certainly doesn't taste like a pumpkin pie, but the pumpkin flavor is really, really nice. It's a very mild flavor, but this recipe won me over because of the cream cheese. I am a sucker for some cream cheese. All right, we're also going to need about a half teaspoon of red pepper flakes. And now remember, these are up here. Half teaspoon of red pepper flakes. Give this a stir while I'm over here. I'm going to turn the heat off on that and just let it absorb the scalding hot water and soften that way. I don't need it to necessarily cook anymore because it's soft enough. I don't have any already ground pepper. I like to grind my pepper fresh, but we'll just fast forward through this. All right, between a half teaspoon and 3/4 of a teaspoon of black pepper. Just go with what you like. I also need a teaspoon of salt in this. So half teaspoon measure, that'd be 2 of those. We also need a teaspoon of dried oregano. And it looks like our cream cheese is melting and combining there real good. We're going to add a cup of milk to this mixture. And this is just whole milk. Now that is some pretty sauce right there. I'm going to turn the heat off on that burner. So we have no burners on right now. Let's go over and drain our pasta at the sink. Okay, let's go back over to the stove. All right, here's our pasta. We're going to pour our sauce in it. I knew this spatula would come in handy more than once. We're going to put part of our Parmesan in here, but not all of it. Some of it's going to be for the top of the dish. Some of the ziti's sticking together, unfortunately, but at least I know I didn't overcook it. And that's okay. All right, like I said, this is about 1.5 cups of the grated Parmesan, and I'm going to put about 1 cup of it in here. Reserve about 1/2 cup for the top. And I have 1/3 cup of breadcrumbs. These are just toasted homemade bread that I'd made here a while back, and I had it in a container. And it looks like panko crumbs, but it's not. It's just breadcrumbs. I'm going to add it to the remaining Parmesan. Okay, let's go butter our dish and put the pasta in. I'm going to use coconut oil instead of butter. You can use either one, but this was just easier for me to stick my hand down in the jar and get some out if I'm buttering a pan. Well, coconut oiling a pan, I guess. I think I have 2 doggies who are looking for anything that spattered out of that pan. They will find it. Hopefully it's not a piece of garlic. All right, I told you earlier that part of this is going to someone for a meal train, and then we will just keep a small part of it. So I'm going to pour out the majority of it into this dish to send to friends, and then I'll just pour our little bit into a different pan to bake it off tonight. So that's why I'm not going to pour the whole thing in there, in case you're wondering, going, she didn't even pour it all out of the pan. What's the matter with her? Okay, that's perfect for 2 different meals. Then lastly, our Parmesan and breadcrumbs. Kind of mix it together. I'll put half of it on this, then half of it on ours. Or somewhere close to half. Perfect. All right, and that is our pumpkin, what did I call this? Oh, I'm lost. Sausage pumpkin pasta bake. I knew it had pumpkin in it. I forgot all about the sausage. It's been a day. Okay, there you go, guys. I'll take a better picture of it in just a minute and show you at the end. But thanks for joining us. Recipe is in the description as always, and we look forward to sharing something again with you real soon. Thanks for watching. leave you hanging. That actually has to be baked. That's why it's called sausage pumpkin pasta bake, because we bake it. So we're going to bake this at 400 degrees for about 30 to 45 minutes, just until it's bubbly and the breadcrumbs on the top are toasted. So I'll show you ours that I reserved for us when it comes out of the oven, just so you'll know what it looks like once it's baked. It's not done, what I just showed you all ago. Oh, it's been a day. Thanks for being patient.